It started with a message that wasn't meant for her. Alina sat by the corner window of the small Italian cafe, the kind that smelled like roasted coffee beans and quiet promises. She wasn't the type for blind dates, not after what life had already done to her heart. But her best friend insisted. "Just one night," she'd said. "You need to live again." So Alina gave in, fixed her hair in soft curls, wore that navy blue dress she hadn't touched since her engagement ended, and decided maybe, just maybe, it was time to meet someone new. She looked at the clock. 7:05 p.m. Her date was late. Figures. Then the door opened. He stepped in like he owned the place, tall, confident, the kind of man whose presence made people stop mid-sentence. His name was Ryan Malik, CEO of Malik Dynamics, a name she'd seen on magazine covers but never thought she'd meet in real life. His eyes scanned the cafe until they stopped on her. He smiled, polite and professional. "Alina?" She nodded. "Yes. You must be Ryan." He sat down, ordered espresso without even glancing at the menu, and gave her a look that made her feel seen, truly seen. "I hope you don't mind this place," he said. "I wanted somewhere quiet." She laughed softly. "You picked a good one. For a moment, it felt right." Two strangers in a world that never stopped rushing, finally pausing long enough to talk. He told her about his company, his love for designing things that lasted. She spoke of her love for teaching children art, how colors made even the darkest souls find light again. It was easy, almost too easy. But then, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned slightly, and froze. Alina noticed the shift. "Everything okay?" Ryan looked up, eyes unreadable. "You're Alina Rahman, right?" She blinked. "Yes, why?" He hesitated, then smiled faintly, almost sadly. "You're not the girl I was supposed to meet." Her heart stopped. "I'm sorry?" she asked. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "This date, it was arranged by my friend. I was supposed to meet someone named Alina Rahman. Different spelling, different person entirely, but—" He looked at her again, a spark in his eyes now. "I'm glad it was you." Alina didn't know what to say. The air between them shifted. Awkward, uncertain, but filled with something electric. She should have left. This was a mistake. But something about his honesty, and that calm, disarming smile, made her stay. Then maybe the universe mixed things up for a reason, she said quietly. Ryan smiled. That CEO confidence melting into something genuine. Maybe it did. And that was how it began. A mistake that didn't feel like one. Over the next few weeks, they kept meeting. Not planned, just happening. Coffee after work, long walks, conversations that ran past midnight. Ryan was different from the world she knew. Intense, ambitious, a man who carried his past like armor. Alina, on the other hand, was gentle, grounded, someone who taught him to slow down. But behind Ryan's composed exterior was a story that few knew, a life shaped by betrayal. His last relationship had ended in chaos, leaving him convinced that love was a distraction. Yet every time he saw Alina laugh, he felt that belief breaking. Still, something was wrong. Every time she asked personal questions about his family, his late nights, the silence that sometimes crept into his eyes, he'd deflect with charm. She wanted to believe his smiles, but her instincts whispered otherwise. One evening, as they sat by the riverbank watching the city lights flicker on the water, she turned to him and said softly, "You know, you can tell me what's really going on." He didn't respond for a long moment. Then he said, "The truth? I wasn't looking for love, Alina. That night, I almost canceled. I didn't think I deserved another chance at something real." She reached for his hand. "Maybe that's why we met. Maybe we both needed a reminder that love isn't about timing. It's about courage." Ryan looked at her, something breaking in his chest. "And if I told you that I don't know how to give love the way you deserve, then I'd say," she whispered, "learn with me." That night, under the streetlights, Ryan kissed her. Not like a CEO who got what he wanted, but like a man who finally stopped running. Months passed. Alina became the calm in Ryan's storm, but not everyone saw it that way. The media started talking. The CEO's mystery woman. Investors whispered about distractions. Even his assistant warned him that love could ruin his focus. Ryan tried to protect her from it, but the pressure grew. One headline changed everything. Ryan Malek's secret engagement rumors spark shareholder concern. It was a lie, but it spread fast. When Alina saw it, she didn't cry. She just looked at him, her eyes full of quiet pain. "You told me we were building something real, but it feels like I'm a secret you're ashamed of." Ryan wanted to explain that he was scared of losing everything he'd worked for. But all she heard was silence, so she walked away. Days turned into weeks. Ryan threw himself into work, but every empty office, every late night reminded him of her, the woman he wasn't supposed to meet, but who changed everything, until one morning a package arrived at his office. Inside was a small painting, two silhouettes under an umbrella standing in the rain. On the back, she'd written, "Sometimes love doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be brave." He left his desk that moment, found her teaching class, paint smudged on her hands, laughter echoing across the room. She looked up, surprised to see him. He didn't speak right away, just walked up to her and said, "I spent my life building things that last. But I realized I never built the one thing that truly mattered. Us." Her eyes softened. "And what makes you think it's not too late?" He smiled, the same smile he gave her that first night when everything was a mistake. "Because I was never supposed to meet you. But I'm done fighting what feels right." The class clapped when he took her hand. The world outside blurred, and in that moment, Alina realized sometimes the best things in life don't start perfectly. They start with an accident, a mix-up, a wrong message. That turns out to be the right one all along. If you've ever felt like your story began the wrong way, remember this. Maybe it didn't go wrong at all. Maybe it's just the universe's strange way of leading you where you're meant to be. Because sometimes the wrong date becomes the right destiny.